Hello and welcome back again to Dear Jill, the podcast where I listen to all your problems and dilemmas and hopefully I give you some sort of advice or some sort of help. But just to reiterate, I'm not a professional and that's really clear. But what I am is a good listener and hopefully I also can understand what's going on. So, Emma.
Hello.
This week. Now, have you ever played this game? Best and worst.
Best and worst.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like when you say to people, like, what's been the best part of your week? What's been the worst part of your week? I mean, you can do it daily. You can do it weekly. You can do it monthly, yearly. Have you ever played it?
Never, ever. But we're going to play it now, I guess.
Okay. Well, do you want to tell me what, or will I go first?
Yeah, you
Okay.
ease me into this.
Worst part of my week. So annoying. I follow this woman on Instagram, right? She's called Erica Davies. She's amazing. She's a stylist. She's like a fashion journalist. And she I just like her vibe. I like her style. And she just talks sense, right? So she was styling this top from a very well-known shop. And it looked amazing. And it was really not expensive at all. And I was like, oh, I'm excited. I want that top. So I go onto the website. And I see that there's one in store not far from where I live. About 25 minutes drive, so not really close, but not too far. I think to myself, can I be bothered? Do I want to do it? Yeah, why not? I want the top. That'd be great. So go into the store, have a look around, can't see it. Go over to an assistant. I say, excuse me, just wondering if I could have your help. Yeah, sure. I said, this top, and I showed her it on the phone. I said, it says it has one left in your store. I said, would you be able to help me? And she went, oh, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, that. I said, sorry, what? She went, oh, you'll never find that. If it says it's got one left, chances are little to no chance. I said, I know, but that's your system. Like it says one left in store. In the size that I want. She was like, yeah, I mean, we use the system, but to be honest. And she must have seen the look on my face, the look of, you joking me though, right? Like, computer says no. She was basically giving me computer says no. And she went, but I can try. And I went, yeah, that would be nice if you could try. And so she goes off and I say, I'll just be over there in the corner. So she goes off and I'm just wandering around. Then she comes back about 10 minutes later. What size did you say you wanted? And I thought, well, it says there's only one left, so whatever one's left is the size. But I didn't do that. I said, oh, size 10, please. Thank you. All right, okay. Because the thing is, he'll come back with his gun. I said, sorry, what? She said, he's got like a laser gun, and what he'll do is he'll just go do, like all round the shop. And like if your top's there, like the gun will be able to sense it. And I thought, well, my eyes can see. I don't need a gun to sense if it's here. I mean, I can see that it's not here. So sure enough, a guy comes around, and I was like, are you looking for the green top for me? And he just looked over his shoulder and he was like, yeah, I can't find it. Oh, do you know that kind of thing, right? That can send me over the edge, that. And it's not about me not getting the top. It's the sort of computer says no kind of attitude. But anyway, I didn't. I just said, okay, well, thank you very much for your help. And then I just got in the car and seethed instead. So I was really good. I was well behaved because, you know, I can be a little bit reactive sometimes. But that just really bothered me. And then obviously it made me want the top more. And then it's completely out of stock online, of course. Otherwise I would have just ordered it online. But I was also happy with at least my response and my sort of like keeping it together.
You know what? I didn't put you as a Karen.
Did you not?
I didn't.
Oh, a Karen. Oh, I'm definitely not a Karen.
You know the term
I do
Karen?
know that, but I don't think Karens are that.
Dear Karen.
Ooh.
That's it.
No, I mean, first of all, I hate that term anyway.
Do you? Okay,
I do.
Fair enough.
I think it's unfair towards women that yet again we've labelled a type of person, like a something, I really don't like it. And I also feel sorry for all the Karens out there.
Yeah, it is sad. Yeah, really. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I'm just being down with the kids, you know.
Yeah, no, it's just systems. When systems don't work, and they sort of like, they advertise their system like it's a good system. I don't want to say the shop, but we'll probably all know what I'm talking about. But it's just like, don't have the system if the system doesn't work.
The system might work, it might not work. But I really like is the fact that they've got a gun.
But like what?
What does that do?
What's
that
this?
These can't.
Exactly. Like, see these? Like, I mean, I know I wear glasses, but I can see it was a bright green top. I can see if it's there or not. So anyway, that was my worst. But I held it together.
Worst,
yeah, exactly. So that must be a good week, right? If that was the worst.
Yeah, pretty good.
But my best was I went to a concert. Now, I'm not a massive music concert person. I like to have a seat. And if I don't think a concert has seating, I'm not interested. I'm 5'3". I'm always stood behind somebody that's taller than me. And I don't honestly find it fun just standing in a crowd, like with people doing this and like their beer sort of like spilling on you a bit. I don't get any enjoyment out of that whatsoever. And some people are like, what's wrong with you? Like, music concerts are great fun, but I've never really liked them. So anyway, went to a concert and had a seat.
Oh, look at you. We are definitely different people, Jill. I love it. I had a seat at a concert.
Went to see Paul Heaton.
Who?
House Martins, Beautiful South. He's great.
Okay.
He's really great, right? So anyway, it was real sort of like, you know, he's been around for so long as well. There's songs there like totally from my childhood. And then there's songs like going right up to present day, but really great and just like a lovely, gorgeous atmosphere. But about 2/3 of the way through the concert, I got very distracted.
Tell me more.
So I was like singing out, she's a perfect
10,
but she wears a 12. I was like really, really loving it. And then I
Sorry,
was like,
can we have that again?
she's a perfect 10, but she wears a 12. And I was like, oh my God, that's my therapist. And there was like 2 rows in front of me, and I was like, I'm sure that's my therapist. And I thought, I can't look because the thing with therapists is, even if he looked at me, he wouldn't acknowledge me, because that's the rule. The rule is he's never going to say, hello, Jill, because, you know, in the outside world, that's not what we do. We sort of ignore each other.
Is that an actual
That's
thing?
Like a thing, yeah. It's a thing. So, you know, that's kind of the rule. So it wasn't that I wanted him to look at me, because I knew we'd have to ignore each other anyway. But he was like in profile. Now, I don't see my therapist in profile. I only ever see him front on.
Right, okay.
So I was like, is it him though? So I kind of was staring but trying not to stare. And then I was thinking, oh, I wonder if he saw me like singing, being happy, and he's thinking, oh, she's a liar. Because when she comes in here, she's dead sad. And like, look at her now. And then I was thinking, I wonder what kind of like concert goer he is. Is he going to be all like, woohoo? But anyway, I haven't got it confirmed. I feel 90% sure it was my therapist. But I absolutely could be wrong. And of course, people are going to be in places, aren't they? You are going to see people, you know. But it is a strange thing, and you know, me and my friend Polly, we used to laugh about this like quite a lot, because she would bump into her therapist, well, bump into but not bump into, because you don't acknowledge. It's not that you don't acknowledge that someone's there, but you wouldn't acknowledge that you knew them.
So even when you go and see him, you'll go, were you at that concert? Or
I don't know. I don't know if I will. Because then that would put him in a position that might, I think I probably wouldn't, out of respect.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was that was odd. That was another level to the night.
Did he have a seat as well?
He had a seat.
My
Of course.
Paired quite nicely.
Soulmates.
Right, let's get into this then,
Let's
shall
do
we?
it.
first voice note's from Erin.
Dear Jill, a bit of context. I am a married mother of 2 primary school aged children in my mid-30s. I recently got a promotion at work, which meant a lot of extra money and great benefits, great pension, things like that. I really enjoy my job, but at the same time, I was given the option to pursue a more creative career. It's something that I really enjoy doing in my spare time. And over the last 6 months, I've really struggled to make it balance. I'm at a point now where I need to make a decision on what I pursue further. Any advice would be welcome.
Oh, Erin. Oh, this is Do you know what? It's so funny because creative life and doing something that makes your heart sing, I think is the most important thing. I think that it drives you in a way that nothing else in your life drives you. And I think that it's so important to do something that you love. I think that we spend so much time at work. Why not let be something that you really love? But I have, obviously been an actress all my life. So all my life I have lived in insecurity of not knowing what's coming next. Knowing that I don't have like a regular pension to pay into, knowing that things could, go south very quickly, and kind of always being aware that you have to keep the flame burning all the time. And I know how hard that is, and I know how stressful it's been, and I know that there is a cost to that way of life, that there is an absolute cost. So unfortunately, I absolutely don't have the answer, and I wouldn't know what to say, because I can see benefit in both. I can absolutely see why the secure life with your 2 children and your pension would make sense to you if you like that job as well. And yet I know what the pull of a creative life feels like, and I know how addictive that feeling is in your body when you're doing something that feels like more like your calling. So unfortunately, I'm completely, or maybe not unfortunately, because you're going to do what you want anyway, but I am on the fence with this. And if you had have asked me this question about 10 years ago, I know exactly what I would have said. I would have said, follow your creative life, absolutely. But now, perhaps just because I don't know, maybe just because I'm getting older, and maybe I can see the cost sometimes of living a more financially career insecure life. I know what that feels like, but this is a tricky one for me, Emma.
I can tell. Mm-hmm. This is maybe the first one you've been really stumped by.
Yeah, it's really because I really, really feel like it's just a completely personal choice, and I can totally see the benefit in both. And like I say, when I was younger, I'd always be like creative. But if you feel like you can be happy in a different place and have a more secure financial life and not feel stressed about things, I can really see the benefit in that as well.
I think it's hard for people that want to be creative, because normally that is the hobby that takes over. And clearly Erin sounds like exactly that. For you, obviously you enjoyed drama at school and you did it as hobbies, and you always had that dream, and you did the jump, but you were young. What about someone like Erin who is starting now? That's like, I really want to, being creative is such a good feeling, but with that insecurity.
It is, and it's a real choice, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong here. I really don't. And I think that, what you could say is, I can make the leap. I can jump into my creative life. If it doesn't work out, I can go back to teaching. Teaching will always be available to me. But I can also see why somebody would go, but I'm quite happy here. It feels safe and it feels secure. And I think I can be happy and maybe have a more creative life once my children are a bit older, and maybe I have a little bit more time and a bit more sort of money available to me. So it's really, really hard. But I would, if she had have said to me, I'm really unhappy in my job, but it's very well paid, blah, 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 I said, go, leave your job. It's because she said she was happy. And I think happiness can be available to us in lots of different ways, in lots of different areas. Because I'm an actress, I have a lot of friends who are actors or who used to act, and they've chosen a different path for one reason or another, and they're still okay, they're happy. It's not, you can feel if you have a calling that you can only do that, and if you didn't do that, you would just be deeply unhappy. I just don't think that's true anymore. It just so happens for me that things worked out. But if they hadn't have, now, the person I am now believes that I could be happy doing 5 or 6 different jobs.
I think as well, a few episodes back, there was Neil, who he used the words 50's too young to be put on the shelf. Mm-hmm. Remember Neil?
I do.
And that's sort of the same advice, but different of go and do it. You've got all this experience, go and do it. You said like women around the age of 50 do decide to go and start their own business, could do that jump. Mm-hmm. So there's also that side as well.
There is, like I said, there is no right or wrong here. You can take the leap of faith, and you can always know that teaching is there for you. Teaching is not going to go away. Everyone needs teachers. But she might say, yeah, but the position I'm in, the position I've managed to get to, would probably not be as easy for me to go back into if I left it. Let's say she might be a head of a department or something like that, or she might be a deputy head. But I think it's a real dilemma, and I would say that you've just got to, I would write a list. I would literally pros and cons it for each one, and just see where it goes, and just keep open and stay sort of curious to all the questions and the answers coming your way. And I always feel like life will give you a little cue if you listen hard enough. I'm a believer in that, so keep listening.
Hi Jill, I'm just in the bath as I record this, so apologies, it might be a little bit echoey. My name is Kerry. I am 37 and live in Middlesbrough. My question to you is, so I have recently separated from my wife. We were together for 16 years. Towards the end of the relationship, I would say maybe the last 3 to 4 years, I felt really undervalued and wanted. She was a keen runner. She would always be off at training academies and running events, and I would just be pretty much left on the back burner. Eventually I plucked up the courage and left, but I'm really struggling with the guilt of that. So yeah, what advice can you give me on being able to cope with, I suppose, the whole relationship breakdown and getting rid of that guilt?
Well, Kerry, I'm honoured to be in the bath alongside you. It's relationship breakups. They're so hard, aren't they? Because I have had breakups, quite a few actually in the past, that they're not so cut and dry. There's a feeling inside that I absolutely know that it's not right. And then there's about 25 feelings on top of that go, yeah, but what if? What if we could have? What if it could have been different? So I don't think you should ever feel guilty for breaking up with someone. And this is the reason why. A lot of times when you're with someone and they're deeply in love with you and you're in love with them, but, you know, for whatever reason it comes to an end and you break up, and the person you broke up with will say, but you're the one. You're the one, and you've broke my heart. You were the person that I wanted to be with forever. You are my soulmate. I'll never find anyone like you. You were the one for me. they can't have possibly been the one for you because you've broken up with them. It's like a fantasy. It's like a story, a narrative we tell ourselves. It's like, but you were. It's like, yeah, in your story I was. But in my story, we're not. In my story, this comes to an end and I have a new chapter. So I don't think you should ever feel guilty for following your heart. I think that's such a courageous thing to do. I really do. Especially when there hasn't been, if there hasn't been any cheating on either side and there hasn't been, too much of a volatile breakdown, you can often think, oh, did we not try hard enough? Or could we have pulled this back? Could we have made it work? And I think that, I don't know, is the guilt for you a way for you to beat yourself up, to sort of give yourself a hard time and to not give yourself permission to move forward? Because no one's making you feel guilty, at least not from your message. It just seems to be coming from you. So I would sort of say to yourself, who would I be without this guilt? If I didn't have any guilt, what would I do differently? If I was guilt-free, how would I be living my life? And write all that down and then start doing it. Because all it's doing is holding you back. All it's doing is stopping you from being happy. And I know for me, when I've had breakups in the past like that, and I felt really, really guilty because I feel like I've really made another person deeply unhappy. It's like almost like a self-flagellation. I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person. I'm a terrible person. Look, they're so sad. They're so sad. It's like breakups are sad. They're really sad, always. But that's okay. Everyone moves on. We're all human. We can all repair ourselves. And you were not the person for her, because she wasn't the person for you. And that's just how it is. So yeah, drop the guilt and just start living your life. And don't be afraid to thrive. Don't be afraid of that. You're allowed to thrive, and you're allowed to be the best version of yourself, and you're allowed to feel amazing. Everyone's allowed to do that. So just try and keep that in mind, and just ask yourself, like, how is the guilt serving you, and what would you be without it? Good luck.
Have you heard the phrase, like, it's given main character energy?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't put themselves into the main character, and people think maybe they're being selfish because they're thinking of other people too much. And I always say, like, in your story, you are always the main character, so don't feel guilty for anything. Just live that main character life.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And that is also a good question if you are listening and you do feel like, the way Emma's just described, why aren't you the main character? Because why does that serve you? Does it serve you? Do you feel better being the slight underdog? Do you feel better being the sort of best friend, the one that doesn't quite get everything that the main character gets? Because everything we think when we have thoughts like that about ourselves, it's all a way of keeping ourselves safe, of keeping ourselves protected. It's just stories. You are the main character in your life because, like you said, you have to be. You're the only one there. So if you don't feel like that, and you feel like someone isn't treating you in the way you want to be treated in a relationship, or you do feel a bit ignored, is it because there's a part of you that also feels like not you should be, but you are sort of secondary? It's always interesting when you're on the receiving end of some kind of treatment. It's not to not give the person accountability for treating you like that. It's always interesting to ask yourself the question, what is my part in that dynamic? What am I given to allow that dynamic to happen? It's interesting.
Nice one. We'll go to Sarah.
Dear Jill, I lost one of my twins when she was 1 month old. My doctor has said that I have something called delayed grief. How do I navigate through this, bearing in mind I still have the other twin that's still living? And sometimes when she achieves milestones, it can become quite difficult
to be able to process my grief. Thank you, Sarah.
First of all, Sarah, I'm so sorry. That's really devastating, and and my heart goes out to you. Yeah, you're right. It's so difficult to lose a child like that, especially a twin, and not have every moment of your child who survived be a moment that the child you lost didn't get to experience. It's always going to be there, but I think what could be helpful is that you just make sure that the child you lost stays alive within you and within their sibling as much as possible. And every time your child walks for the first time or says their first word, you can say, "Oh, was it a girl she lost? Was it a daughter? She didn't say, did she?" But you can say, "Look, your sibling would have loved that. Oh, look, they would have really enjoyed that. Oh, look, oh, that's amazing. They'd be so proud of you." You can have that child still live alongside you, and you can celebrate every moment. And when it's your child's first birthday, you can also celebrate the child that you lost. You can honor that person. You can have a picture of them beside your child. It's really hard. Integration is really hard. I really can understand the struggle here. I know this feeling. It's really, really difficult. But when you lose someone, and that's a very complex loss that you're going through, to integrate them into your life, I heard this beautiful phrase like, that you live alongside the dead live with us. I can't remember who said it, but it's like, yeah, we'll live alongside each other. They're not to be lost or gone or to be some sad memory, never to be spoken of. They're to be talked about. They're to be kept alive. They're to be celebrated. And every time you can celebrate all your child's wins and say, yeah, your sibling will be so proud of you. That's so amazing. Can you imagine? You imagine what they'd be saying right now? And you can use it as a celebration, as a way to always keep them there, as a way to always know that they will be and walk and love alongside you from now until ever. But I really wish you like so much love. And that's such a difficult road to travel, because on the one hand, you've got a beautiful child, and there's nothing more gorgeous than being a mother and bringing up your child, but also alongside that, you've lost as well. So you've got these two conflicting feelings all the time. But it's okay. It's okay. That's allowed. You're allowed to feel happy and sad. You're allowed to feel joy and pain. The two can absolutely exist together, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it. And if you're really happy one day, or you're in the park one day with your child and you're pushing them on the swing, you can say to yourself, "Oh, I feel sad that my other child isn't here as well," but you don't have to rob yourself of the joy of being at the park with that child. Does that make sense? It's just a very easy way to never let ourselves be happy. And I don't wish that for you. I want for you to be able to love and to find joy in what you've been given. So I wish you all the best. Thank you. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi there, Jill. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. How can we help today?
So I've got a little bit of a dilemma for you. I'm just wondering if you could offer some advice. I started talking to someone on a dating profile who happens to be in an open relationship. Now, this guy is older than I would normally go for, but, you've got to give yourself a chance. And we've been on a couple of dates together, but I don't think his current partner likes me because he was getting a little bit too involved. So now he's slowed down the contact. this has been made worse by the fact that he's also been dating a different guy who is 10 years younger than me as well as myself. Can you help?
Okay. So have you ever been in an open relationship before?
Not personally, no, but I have spoken to and dated people who were.
And how do you just feel about them in general?
Doesn't tend to go well, so I'm not too sure why I got myself involved again, but he seemed like a nice guy, and he assured me that it is definitely a fully open relationship.
Okay, so how do you really feel about them though? Because you just said before they don't usually go well. Like, what is your gut telling you about open relationships?
My gut is telling me that they're usually open for the wrong reasons and not the right ones. Because there's always a reason that they've opened them up in the first place. And it doesn't tend to be because they want to stay together, but it also tends to be that they don't necessarily want another relationship alongside of it, from experience.
And in an ideal world, are you more, you'll want more of a monogamous relationship?
Yes, personally, I would like to be a one-person person.
I think you've probably answered your own question, you know. I think that it's always really hard when you want to meet someone and then you meet someone who you like and you think, well, their situation isn't like exactly what I'm after, but I like them. And you sort of bend the rules a bit for yourself, bend them to your will. And you sort of think, well, it could be right. And I just get the feeling from what you're saying and from how you feel that this is not your person. I mean, if you just were saying to me, hey, I just want to have some fun, it's just a good laugh, I've been in open relationships before, but if you're like a one-person guy, then I don't know. Do you think I would worry that you're going to get deeper into this and just feel hurt and just feel like you're in a situation that it just doesn't align with who you are. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think it's not really sort of for me because the reality is he probably wouldn't ever obviously tie down into a single relationship at the moment. It's just a little bit confusing because when we went on our date, it sounded like the opposite. It sounded like, their relationship was struggling and that's why they opened it up a bit. So they were both exploring other potentials. But then I think because they were both doing that and they seem to have found other potentials, it's then put a bit of a spanner in the works. So they seem to be looking over their own relationship now.
Yeah, I would, definitely don't date a person for what they could be. Date a person for what they are. That's for sure. And I think it would be different if somebody said, I've been in a long relationship, but I'm single now and I'm ready to explore. But someone saying, I'm in a relationship, but we're not sure about it, so we've kept it open and now we're exploring. I just wouldn't want you to get hurt. And it just sounds to me like you're not somebody who would want to be in that sort of, I was going to say triangle, but it's a square now, isn't it? There's four of them.
I think at this point it's probably an octagon, to be fair. It sounds like there's not just the four of us involved.
Yeah, I think if you're not an octagon person, don't go there.
No.
Protect yourself, have your boundaries. There's loads of other people out there. And sometimes when you're dating, I've heard loads of like relationships experts say this. The whole point is to find out what you don't want. You have these experiences it's like to test yourself and go, this is not what I want. If somebody wrote that down on a piece of paper for me and said, right, you're about to enter into a relationship and these are the details, you'd be like, no thanks. But because you've met this guy and because he made you feel a certain way and because you were like, oh, I quite fancy him and blah, blah. I'm putting words into your mouth now, but I'm imagining the date went well. I think you just start to move your goalposts. I think that's, I wouldn't go there if I was you, but of course it's your decision.
I think that's probably good advice. I think it's all about like the shape kind of dilemma. I think sort of helps. You've got to find the right shape that's a match for you. Like when the children have those little building blocks that they put through the holes to learn shape.
I absolutely know what you mean.
I
do know what you mean, and I think you sound like the type of person who does know the shape you want. Stick to your shape.
I think I do. Yeah.
Find your circle.
Cool.
Oh, thanks so much.
I've got the body shape of a circle, so it works.
Well, listen, good luck with it all, but know your boundaries and stick to them, whatever they may be.
I will do, Jill. Thank you for the advice.
Loads of love. Thanks. Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.
You ever found yourself in that situation, Emma?
Never. I don't know what shape I am, but I'm a one-person shape.
Me too, and I'm fascinated by open relationships. I have no problem with the way anybody wants to live their life, but I know that I wouldn't be good in that situation, and it just feels like, oh, don't give yourself heartache. There's somebody out there who just wants to just also be a one-person person.
Knows their shape as well.
And knows their shape. Final thoughts. Today I was just thinking that I think sometimes maybe the shape thing actually is a good analogy. I think there's a list of things in life that we all think we should have, and it's love and a great job, or a job you love, or a beautiful house, or whatever they may be. And I think we're like bend and kind of squash ourselves into shapes to get those things when it doesn't really feel like us. And I think some of the callers today, like, with the girl with the job and just our last caller, where you kind of go, you don't have to. You can stay exactly the way you are and be as authentic as you can possibly be. And the right things will then come to you. And that doesn't mean to say the whole list will come to you. That this is something that I've definitely learned as time's gone on. Not everything will come your way, but some things will come your way that you never, ever expected. They'll come completely from a direction you weren't even looking, and you'll think, that's so brilliant. I never even thought about that. And sometimes we can be like so focused on the stuff, the obvious stuff, the list. It's like, but there's like think about like having like a 360 kind of view. It's like there's so many other things. There's so many ways to enjoy your life and feel fulfilled. And I think we just sometimes try and just like stick ourselves in this rigid, one-dimensional, this is how people live their lives. And it's nonsense, isn't it?
It is. And you know what? Maybe that green top wouldn't have been styled the right way on you as well.
You just reminded us of that. I was feeling zen again.
I'm just saying.
Get your gun out.
Sometimes things aren't meant to be, and you don't reshape yourself.
In the show notes, I might actually put that top down, because if somebody does happen to see it in the shop or find it, I'll pay double. No, I won't. I'm not getting into that. Oh, thanks to everybody that's left a voice note for us. We'll see you again next week. And as always, just stay brave, stay honest. I always say it, but it's really courageous to be the person who you really are. So thank you very much for being so brave with me today. If you've got a dilemma or a problem, then please get in touch with us on the @DearJill Podcast Instagram page. Leave us a voice note and you might be on the show. And if we did answer one of your dilemmas today, then please call us back, because we really want to know how you're going to get on. Thank you so much, guys, and see you next week.